For a series that's celebrating its 30th anniversary next month, I don't think we fully appreciate just how many iconic characters Resident Evil has produced. Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, Leon S. Kennedy, Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, Sherry Birkin. It even speaks to the development team's talents that Grace Ashcroft, whose full story remains shrouded in mystery, feels like a natural fit to that list. But if we're talking mysterious, then no one in the franchise fits that bill better than the one and only Ada Wong. Having debuted in person for the first time in Resident Evil 2, Wong's impact goes even further back, starting with the original, and even before that, she would be involved with Albert Wesker after he completed his portrayal of Spencer and Stars. But when it comes to her backstory, where she's from, her training, there's no information. Heck, Ada Wong isn't even her real name, but a pseudonym, and not even Wesker knew her true identity. Nevertheless, he attested to her skill, a fact that the rival company was forced to admit despite questioning her motives. So where did it all begin, and how did Wong end up inextricably linked to the history of Raccoon City? Contrary to belief, it was much before the destruction incident when she herself became a member of Umbrella USA. Mysterious Stranger. Of course, it was a ruse. Ada may have technically worked for Umbrella using her real name, but it was with falsified credentials. Her true goal was to get in touch with Dr. John Clemens, who became chief researcher at the Arklay Laboratory, located beneath the infamous Spencer Mansion after William Birkin was transferred to Nest. Despite his experience having served with Umbrella since the 1980s in Chicago, Clemens wasn't viewed very favorably by Umbrella. He had those things called morals and didn't like the company developing bioweaponry, or, the heinous nature of the experiments. However, they were right about one thing, that he was more likely than anyone to leak classified information. Furthermore, once the Arklay outbreak occurred, causing the entire staff to become infected, he wrote a letter asking Ada to kill him, use any information against Umbrella, and also how the self-destruct system worked. The sad part about it all, not only did she not read the letter, but Clemens' zombie seemingly remained. How much did Ada learn? We still don't have all the answers, but during the outbreak, Wong managed to escape without a trace. Think about all the chaos, the mayhem that occurred at the time, and yet despite all that, it was like she was never even there. Whether her task was completed or not, the rival company was seemingly pleased with Ada's work and assigned a new mission: infiltrate Raccoon City to recover a G-Virus sample. She was introduced to Wesker, who recently joined the organization, and would work alongside an unnamed liaison. Her first lead was a journalist, Ben Bertolucci, who was investigating the corrupt RPD chief Brian Irons. It was enough to have him arrested and confined to Raccoon Police Station, but he supposedly had information on Nest. Upon arriving in the city, Ada made her way to the police station and happened upon Leon S. Kennedy. After saving him from a zombie dog, she claimed to be an FBI agent, badge and everything, but won't explain why she's in Raccoon City, claiming the information is classified. Leon ventures forth alone and finds Bertolucci, who reveals his desire to expose Iron's corruption. Before he can escape, however, Mr. X bursts through the back wall of the cell and kills him. Wong arrives shortly after and reveals that Bertolucci was an informant for her investigation. It's only after Leon gets the parking permit that Ben was holding onto that he's able to find a way out, but Mr. X shows up again. Before it can ensure that our boy doesn't make it into Requiem, or any sequel for that matter, Ada rams it into a wall with a SWAT truck, thus saving Leon again. It's only after running into Robert Kendo and his infected daughter that Wong reveals her true, read completely fabricated, mission: bringing down Umbrella's operation, which requires obtaining a G-Virus sample. Leon agrees to help her, if only to save Raccoon City and expose those responsible. They venture into the sewers, dealing with threats like a mutated alligator, and eventually run into Annette Birkin, William's wife, who fires haphazardly at Ada. Leon jumps into the line of fire and ends up hurt as a result. After bandaging Leon up, Ada pursues Annette, who accidentally lets slip that the Nest has G-Virus samples. By activating a mechanism, Annette knocks Ada off the platform and into a pit where her leg is impaled by shrapnel. Before a mutated Birkin can harm her, Leon comes to the rescue, repelling, but not killing, the former. After helping Ada, she tells him about Nest, and they find a tram that takes them directly there. During the journey, Ada confesses that it's up to Leon to retrieve the G-Virus sample since her injury makes her a liability. He goes on ahead, leaving her behind in the tram, or so he thinks. After retrieving the G-Virus sample, he runs into Annette again and learns the truth. Ada is actually a mercenary trying to retrieve the G-Virus to sell. Eventually, they run afoul of Birkin, who kills Annette. Leon encounters Ada on a bridge, who asks him to hand over the sample so she can verify it. He reveals what Annette told him, and realizing that the jig is up, Ada aims at Leon. Neither side is willing to shoot the other, but Annette, barely clinging to life, appears and shoots Ada in the shoulder. She falls over the side, but Leon grabs her. As the bridge slowly gives away, she simply tells him to take care of himself and falls into the abyss. Of course, as we already know, Ada doesn't die, ironically echoing her previous statement about how nothing dies down here. Nest is in the middle of a self-destruction sequence, and while Leon battles a mutated Mr. X to escape, a crate with a rocket launcher slides down to him. From a walkway above, we see Ada's shadowy figure who says, "We'll call it even," before disappearing. On the train leading out of Nest as it explodes, Leon reminisces about Ada. We know that she eventually finds Birkin's mutated remains and takes a tissue sample to fulfill her mission of retrieving the G-Virus. However, upon returning to Raccoon City and making it to her unknown liaison in the Apple Inn, she discovers that he ended his life, thinking that she was lost and there was no way out. Wesker chimes in, having witnessed everything over surveillance systems, even knowing that she helped Leon. Upon Ada presenting the G-Virus sample, he warns that Raccoon City is due for destruction and that there's only one means of escape. Despite her injuries, Ada heads out, fighting off zombies and the Tyrant R, eventually hookshotting onto a passing Umbrella helicopter, which Sergei Vladimir was using to evacuate the UMF-013. Infallible asset. Having succeeded in her mission, Ada nevertheless had to push on, perhaps because she proved her worth to the rival company while Wesker had faltered. Especially after his failure to procure data from the Arclay laboratory, the two would develop a rivalry of sorts. In 2004, Wong obtained information from Luis Serra about the parasite in Spain. In the midst of this, she also learned that Wesker had been working with Tricell in secret, seemingly betraying his current employers. Wesker sent in Jack Krauser to retrieve the parasite from Luis Serra. The parasite can override the infected individual's free will. The problem is that after rescuing Luis from Salazar's dungeon and discovering that he doesn't have the amber with him, necessitating him to go look for it, she's infected with the parasite. While attempting to find Luis again, things take a rather interesting turn when she discovers none other than Leon fighting off hordes of zombies. She helps him out undetected and reconnects with Wesker afterwards. Wong also discovered Leon's capture afterwards, and before Chief Batoris Mendez could kill him, she intervened. Afterwards, the two have a less than peaceful reunion where Leon surprisingly gets the better of her. Despite telling him to leave Ashley behind, he refuses. Later, she provides some hints here and there before pursuing her own mission. Unfortunately, the infection is only getting worse, but after meeting Luis again, she learns of a suppressant that can slow it down. She had to separate from him due to the amber seemingly worsening her infection. After dispelling the parasite, she ventures once more to find Luis, but discovers that Krauser got to him first, killing him and taking the amber. She meets up with Leon once more, this time with the keys to a speedboat, and subsequently travels with him to a facility on a separate island. While they split up, Ada plants a tracker on him and goes looking for Krauser. As it turns out, the latter returned the amber to Sadler. After sabotaging the bombs planted on the island, which Wesker would have set off even if Ashley didn't make it out, Ada ends up saving her and Leon. However, she's knocked out and captured. Leon arrives to help her, and upon being freed, they work together to bring down Sadler. Despite his assistance, Ada retrieves the amber, telling Leon that she and Luis had a prior engagement. She makes to leave in the rival company's helicopter, asking him if he's coming with her. Leon refuses, saying this is where they go their separate ways. But while the island starts to explode, Ada tosses the keys to a jet ski so he and Ashley can escape. In the aftermath, Ada speaks to Wesker, telling him that the amber is secure. However, upon asking what he plans to do with it, he tells her that a new dawn is breaking for humanity, which will lead to billions of casualties. Ada removes her headset and aims at the helicopter pilot, telling him that they're changing course. Peering down, she sees Leon and Ashley making their escape and seemingly stifles a smile. Despite Ada's decision, Wesker is none the worse for wear. With Krauser's corpse, he's seemingly ready to proceed as planned. After that, the two would mostly avoid each other. That is, until 2006, when Oswald Spencer sought to leak his location to Wesker. His butler got in touch with Ricardo Irving, a prominent bioweapons dealer in the black market who would subsequently contact Ada. The rest is history. After Wesker killed Spencer, he created Ouroboros. However, before completely infecting the globe, Chris Redfield, Sheva Alomar, and the BSAA stopped him, with Wesker subsequently dying in a volcano. Wong's next major mission was in 2011, where she was anonymously hired to go to the Eastern Slav Republic. Having assumed the role of a BSAA representative, she'd planned to investigate how the government obtained a parasite to destabilize the rebel opposition. She met Leon once more, and despite her cover being blown, she would still obtain a parasite sample and vanish. Well, not exactly. The BSAA learned of her impersonating a representative and sent out an arrest warrant, only to see it promptly disappear. Neo Umbrella and the end of Simmons. For many who played Resident Evil 6, the obsession of Derek C. Simmons, one of the main antagonists, with Wong was somewhat out of left field. However, they had a significant history prior to Ada infiltrating Arclay Laboratory. Before he obtained increased influence in the US government, he assigned her several missions, and things seemed mostly professional. For some reason, however, he would obsess over Ada Wong, and after she learned that he was the one who voted to bomb Raccoon City, having also initially suggested it, Ada cut off all ties. Of course, Simmons wouldn't let things end this way. He was the one who anonymously hired Wong for the Eastern Slav Republic mission, and even had her arrest warrant rescinded. With orders to go to Adonia from the rival company and capture Jake Muller in 2012, Ada skipped out on the same, but not on some of the resulting headaches. Then, in June of 2013, she would board a submarine at the behest of Simmons, who strangely didn't attempt to hide his identity this time, to obtain information, of course. Naturally, it would suffer tragedy, with Ada escaping and learning from Simmons that an organization known as Neo Umbrella would soon conduct bioterrorism attacks worldwide. Worst of all, someone had stolen her identity. Several days later, Ada ran into Leon and Helena Harper in Tall Oaks, where the family, Simmons' organization, had a secret lab. After helping them take down Helena's mutated sister, she discovered a tape that showcased Simmons using the C virus to create her clone. The Simmons she spoke to days before was in fact a clone, and after telling the real one, Ada sent out for Lanxiang. Of course, the clone had already significantly damaged her reputation with the BSAA hot on her heels, especially after what the former had done in Adonia. A short run-in with Sherry Birkin and Jake Muller later, she would pursue the clone to an aircraft carrier, where she learned it was actually researcher Carla Radames, seeking vengeance against Simmons and the family. Carla created Neo Umbrella, launching attacks worldwide and impersonating Ada. However, her foes finally caught wind of her, which led to Carla's assassination on the carrier. While Ada happened upon her body, Carla was discovered to be alive, having used the enhanced C virus to mutate herself. As she began consuming the ship, screaming that she was the real Ada Wong, Ada fought her off, using liquid nitrogen to wound Carla. Wong would then escape via helicopter as the ship sank, and it's unknown whether Carla ultimately survived. Of course, following the death of their leader, Neo Umbrella launched a C-virus missile attack into the Tachi district. Ada would save Leon and Helena before parting ways, but eventually met up again in the Quad Tower, which is also where a mutated Simmons awaited. In a cruel twist of fate, Simmons believed Ada to be Carla, leading to a clash. After a protracted battle, Leon saved Ada and vice versa, the two going their separate ways once again. Ada would eventually find and destroy Carla's lab, including what the latter believed to be her greatest product, before once again disappearing into the night. What you should remember going into Requiem. Ada Wong is still one of the biggest mysteries in Resident Evil history, and that's saying a lot. Given how she's technically a survivor from Raccoon City, you have to figure that Raccoon City syndrome would catch up with her, if she's even infected. Then again, given her ties to Leon and the city, it wouldn't be surprising if she showed up for a cameo, perhaps to say goodbye one last time. She also still possesses the Amber, though to what end remains to be seen. Whatever the case may be, her story is inextricably tied to Leon's, whether it's helping him survive Raccoon City's destruction, or even contributing further to his self-sacrificing nature. Whether we'll see the real Ada Wong when Requiem arrives, or just another passing glimpse, she's doubtless earned her place among the series' legends. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.